Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the virtual Sunday morning service at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. As a Womble and the minister, or one of the ministers at Wimbledon, I extend a warm and loving welcome to everybody. And any new faces out there, I hope you enjoy our service this morning. And I'd like to welcome to our service this morning as our medium, who will also be giving the address, Reverend Lesley Knight. Lesley, you will know because she does her meditations on a Friday at 12:30?
11:30.
Yeah, 11:30. Oh, I'm always an hour late. So please, I extend a warm, loving welcome. And Lesley, as my Ashley often said, and I forget to say this about her, but she's our healer trainer here at Wimbledon and for a lot of people. And she also, along with her daughter, she does a counselling course here with her daughter for those who passed out as healers within United Spiritualists. So, Lesley, good morning and welcome, and I hope you have a lovely morning with us. I know how ecstatic you are being with us this morning.
Yeah, can't wait.
I know you can't. And my love to Alistair and everybody else in the family.
Thank you.
So, my friends, I'd ask Lesley to open with prayer.
Divine Spirit, Father God, we thank you for bringing us here today as we join together for our divine service. In this troublesome time of lockdown, we appreciate that during our divine service, we can unite as one and bring comfort to each other. May each person here today be given upliftment and encouragement and help to lift their hearts. May they not be afraid or lonely, knowing that your love and the love from our church family is around you all. May our world, our planet, be filled with love, light and healing and happiness. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, friends, we've come to that part of the service where we continue our prayerful thoughts, where we unite in healing. Healing of mind, body and spirit for all our loved ones and families that we know. And here at Wimbledon Church, we have an app within the church healing group, which we share. And this morning, I've taken some names off as well as some people that I know. So we're going to play for Laura Kimball and Michelle Dearlove Scott, whose mum passed into the spirit yesterday. Brian, Amber, Jill, our daughter Rachel, who's expecting her first baby. Another Laura, Pooja, who is also expecting a baby. Kelly and Stephen and Rose Doland, and many, many more that we know. So I would ask you now to think of yourselves uniting with your hands into one great big healing link, where for a few moments we share the healing link. Afterwards, we will say the God grant me the serenity words. So just a few moments of healing prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for healing of mind, body and spirit for all our loved ones, family, and those names I have read out this morning. We ask you to send thy ministering angels to give them such healing balm that they require at this time. We pray for all of those also suffering with COVID-19 in hospitals and at homes, and those people that are close to us in our hearts and our minds. And we pray for also the medical profession, healers and therapists that are dealing with crises in their own parts of this world. Into thy hands, O Lord, we commend the spirits of these names we have prayed for, knowing with thee at all time, thy will shall always be done. So mote it be. Now let us say the serenity prayer, the first lines. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is our affirmation for today, friends, and we need to say that when we can throughout the day and throughout the time, and be grateful that we can have the ability to change. Phil is saying he likes my tie. It's one of my American ties. Got out in California. So thank you, Phil. So friends, I'm going to also mention now the collection. Those who can give a collection towards PayPal. It's on our website, but also if I just read it out just now, www.paypal.com/PayPal me at LAD Promotions. So that will help the church funds. We've just come into church this morning, some of the electrics are playing up. So every time I come here each week, I find something new. So that's another thing we've got to have put right. But more importantly, I want to keep the church going to share this service with you and share this around the world. So I'll say hello to a few names on screen. Stacey Shaw. Good morning, Stacey. It's nice to see you again. We saw Phil Shaw as well. I know Ashley's online as well. Good morning again, Phil. James, good morning, James. I hope you're well. And James, his wife's anniversary of her passing today. Ashley, good morning. Hope you have a good day. George, good morning, George. Welcome. June Malkin, good morning to you, Dave, and the family. Hope you're all well. Owen, good morning. Hope you're keeping safe and sound. Hot Fly Me, good morning. Hope you're well. It's Linka. Hi, Linka. Sylvia, hello. How are you? I hope you're well. Rita Gonzalez, good morning. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Anne Hopkins, good morning, Anne. Hope you are well. Christine, good morning. Hope you enjoy our service this morning. Anthony Lapsley, good morning. Hope you are both well, keeping safe. Look after yourselves. Lovely to hear from you. Terry, good morning. Welcome. Hope you have a lovely morning. Kim, good morning. Hope you're well, keeping safe. Cheryl Boxall, good morning, Cheryl. Hope you're well. Rosie, hello, Rosie. How are you, darling? Danny Cross, good morning. Welcome. And we'll stop here at Michelle. Dear love, Scott, send your love to Michelle. Her mum passed into the spirit last night and has returned home. And send your love and strength to Michelle and her family at this moment of time that are in need of healing and love. As much as we are spiritualists, that when a loved one passes the spirit, it does touch the old heartstrings, and it really does. So, Michelle, we send you our love and strength, and she's a great worker for our church and LAD promotions. Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to hand over to Jackie now, who will do the reading this morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be with you again this morning. Before I start the readings, I just wanted to read to you what we received via email from a faith engagement team of our local borough and the Metropolitan Police. And it's got faith celebrations coming up in January. It's their very first Southwest newsletter. And what I would like to say is on the 20th, it's Guru Gobinder Singh's birthday. So for all the Sikhs, there might be some Sikh spiritualists out there, then, we acknowledge that he was famed as a warrior, poet and philosopher, and his contributions to Sikhism were many, including the tradition of covering one's hair with a turban. And the other anniversary that is coming up on the 17th, it says, or it's the 17th World Religion Day. The aim of World Religion Day is to acknowledge the similarities that different faiths have, whether you're Hindu, Jewish, Catholic, Shinto, Buddhist, or one of the million other faiths. World Religion Day is your chance to share your culture with others. So never be frightened of sharing the fact that you're a spiritualist, especially at this time when so many people are passing back to the spirit world, back to heaven. And Ray mentioned that one of our family of the church, Jim Blythe, who's been coming to our church now the last 4 years, when his dear wife Sylvie passed to the spirit world. And I was amazed when he said to me last night that it was 4 years. And as Sylvie had written this book, Inspired Poetry, which I have read from before, that I thought it was only fitting to actually choose 2 or 3 short poems of Sylvie's for her anniversary, especially those that were appropriate at this moment. And the first one is very much on a healing vein, called Light and Love. We send you some light, for when the sun does not shine, well, pray for some hope when you search for a sign. When the sun keeps on shining, but that's not enough, we'll send all our love for you when life gets too tough. And she wrote that on the 19th of May 2001. And the other one that I wanted to choose this morning, because we've got beautiful sunshine here in Wimbledon. Hopefully you've got lovely sunshine where you are, but I know it really depends on what part of the country you're living. And it's called Morning Sun. The first rays of the sun are gleaming, the first shaft on the wall is streaming, and all across the garden beaming, and all the place is shining gold, making all of us feel better, like the good news in a letter, casting off the chains that fetter, releasing many thoughts untold, shining on the birds and flowers, resting on the bush and bowers, sending warmth to last for hours, and nothing left is feeling cold, healing for the ones with illness, comfort for the humble homeless, a calming in the summer stillness, but all the warmth the world unfold. And the last one I chose, and I chose it because I noticed that she'd actually written it on the 20th of January 2002, so 21 years next week, and it's called The Cross. Now with special cross in place, see the smile upon his face. The time is gone when Ruth was bare, but still inside our God was there. Our God lives there within the walls. He is there when the needy calls. He'll be there when you're in pain. When you're in peace, he's there again. We welcome him with all his grace. The light will flow from his dear face. May the light shine evermore and shine with peace on every door. And this was to commemorate the fact that a cross in the church was blown down in a gale, and this poem was to mark its replacement. But as I read last week, the footprints in the sand, I felt this was very much, again, knowing that, you know, we're never alone, that Spirit are close with us. And in the words of that, you know, that it will shine with peace on every door. So just a selection of Sylvie's poems so that we can just remember the lady. She used to attend our church many years ago, and we do remember her from that. And then when Jim came to us, it was like a complete circle of coming back. And Lesley actually conducted her funeral 4 years ago. But it's amazing how 4 years has just, to us, flown by, you know, but many a lonely or emotional time for Jim to feel, hopefully, that Sylvia's very much with him, and with hearing her poems very much with us today. Thank you for listening.
And we're now going to have the address from Lesley Knight. Thank you, Lesley.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Sylvie's got a special place in my heart as well, because that was the first funeral I ever conducted, and by myself. So she'll always have a very, very special place in my heart, as so does Jim. So bless you this morning, Jim. This morning I was inspired to talk to you about strength. What is strength? Where does it come from? I think so many people, and quite often a lot of people say to me, oh, you're such a strong person. Well, I don't know, am I really? Yeah. I have my moments. We gather strength from each other, I think. And so many people would turn around and say to me, it's made life so much easier to talk to you. Oh, I'm not strong. I've not been able to do this. I've not been able to do that. You know, I'm quite a weak person. Well, are you weak? Just look at your lives, you know, and think to yourself, what have I been through? Okay, lots of people have had more trauma in their lives, and lots of people, perhaps other people, seem to have sailed through life. But until you've walked in somebody's shoes, you don't know what they've been through. And I've got a few friends that say to me, oh, you're so strong, you're such a strong person, you know, I'm weak, I wouldn't be able to cope the way you do. No, I'm not. I'm not, believe it or not. I mean, the last 2 weeks, and I'll put my hand up, I have struggled these last 2 weeks myself. And it's not been a good time for me, really. And you know, you have to, this is where your faith comes in. And this is where you have to trust in your gut feeling how you feel. But just look back on your lives and think of things that you've gone through. And as I say to people, if you're not strong, how did you get through that? How did you come through the other side? If you think you're such a weak person, you know, you look back over your lives. Where did you get that strength from? You didn't even think you had any. You know, what's that old saying they say to you? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I do really believe that. I know with my life personally, I've had some pretty tough times that have come up, and yeah, I've got through them. I'm not saying that you know, we all carry little bits inside us, don't we, that we try and forget and put to one side. But we do get there, and we do seem to manage to come out the other side. And they really made me the person I am today. If I hadn't been through that, if I hadn't been through those experiences, through that turmoil of my life and the things that have happened, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be sitting here. And I know that for a fact. If something hadn't happened in my life, which wasn't very nice, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to talk about myself at the moment. But if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be here, to have trained to be a healer, to have even probably gone to the church. So it's really, it's quite amazing how things work out. That strength carries us through. And if you notice as well, you're always strong for everybody else. Now, if somebody came and picked on me tomorrow and started shouting at me, I'd probably go into my little shell and wouldn't say anything, and, you know, probably sit here and feel sorry for myself. But you say something about one of my family and friends, and I'm out there like a lion, you know, like a tiger protecting our cubs. I'll be straight out there, you know, giving it what for and sticking up for my friends and being there for them. And I bet every one of you that watches this morning are exactly the same. You know, if somebody hurts somebody you love, you suddenly get all that strength. But when it comes to yourself, you forget about it. I've had times in my life when I felt weak and thought, oh, you know, I'm not good enough, I can't cope and things like that, which I think we all do. But I had the strength and found the inner strength to get through that and come out the other side. And I think at this time with lockdown and with the COVID and everything else, we're all tapping in on that inner strength we've got. We have our moments, we're human, but we all tap in on that inner strength, and we give strength to each other. And even the fact of all being here this morning, joining together in the congregation, being there for each other, you know, phoning somebody up and saying, how are you? You know, I'm here for you. You know, if you feel a little bit weak and you haven't got a lot of strength, then use mine. I'm here. And another thing I think is we always forget ourselves. And I'm as bad as everybody else. I always say to people around me, don't do what I do, do what I say. And it's a standing joke with my circle and my healers, because we need to think about ourselves. How often do you ever sit down and ask for healing for you? Ask for something that you need. And I bet the answer is 99% never. We always sit and send prayers for everybody around us, prayers for our families, our friends, the people on healing books, all the names that Ray sent out this morning, which is absolutely wonderful. But just spend that little bit of time thinking for you as well. Because as I always say to my my trainee healers, if we're not strong and we haven't got that little bit of strength, we can't help everybody else. We have to make ourselves strong. It's not selfish to ask. We all give, and especially during this time of COVID, of lockdown, we're all giving so much of ourselves. And a lot of us are actually burning ourselves out, I think. The spiritual people that are watching, we're sending so much out to everybody else that it's actually affecting us. And we need to reboot ourselves and reboot our strength. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. We need to reboot our energies and bring our strength up. And that's why I always try when I do my meditations on a Friday and when I do meditations in my classes to always say, yes, ask for something for somebody else, but I always will put in there, ask for something for you as well. And it's not being selfish. We have to build our strength up, because if we haven't got strength, then we can't be there for other people. And I think this is really, really important. And maybe some of you, and I'd like some of you that, I don't know, some people call themselves light workers, don't they? But, you don't have to be a medium. You don't have to be a healer. We've all got that love inside ourselves that we give to others. It doesn't matter who it is. We forget about ourselves. We give our strength to other people. We're there for other people. It doesn't matter how tired you might feel, how exhausted you might feel. If somebody phones up and says, I need you, or this has happened and that's happened, how many people here watching forget completely how you feel, and you just give that energy, that strength, that love to those that need it. So I want to say this morning, build your strength up. Spend a few moments, whether it be meditating, whether it be just sitting in the quiet, listening to music, whatever it is, just link to source, to your source, whether it be God, the spirit world, the great universe. But just have that little bit of time of peace for you, of relaxation, to build your energies up, to build your strength up. Ask for help for you. As much as you're asking for everybody else, ask for you as well, because we need to be strong, because we're the ones that are going to be there to help everybody else, and we need to be strong. And I think we're going to have to give a lot of help out in a lot of ways in the near future. So buckle down, get that strength for you, and ask for help. And Linda is actually putting up that she always helps others, but when it's you, the problem is you don't know how to deal with it. No, sometimes you don't, but that's when you ask for help, when you phone a friend, when you talk to somebody else. It doesn't matter how much you want to be strong for other people. There's always times in your life when you need help. There's been times in my life when I've needed help, and Ray will vouch for that I phoned Ray up and said, can we have a chat? And sometimes just having that chat with somebody else, even just letting go of how you're feeling and being truthful with somebody. Don't bottle things up. Don't keep things in because you don't think anybody can cope. Or, pick the right person, of course, because you don't want everybody knowing your business. And just ask for help yourself. None of us are unique. We're all human. We all need that help, and we need that strength for other people. Yeah, and June's saying meditation is healing time. It's the only time she sits down and shuts up. Well, June, I know you live in a very, very busy household. Even if it's when you go to the loo, and I know that sounds really, really silly. If you're sitting on the loo, just close your eyes, have a few minutes to yourself. Spirit won't mind where you are. When you're in the shower, just stand and let that shower go over your shoulders. Let it take away any negativity. Just stand and let that water wash away anything that you're holding on to. And don't forget, us ministers, friends at church, we're always there for each other. And we're always there for you. So, you know, if you want to give us a ring, if you want to message us, we're here. But don't forget, like Kim says, Kim says, you know, we can't help ourselves if we're not well. And that you know, we can't help others if we're not well. That is so true, Kim. Kim is a wonderful healer. And was in one of my groups, and I've probably drummed that into her head at some point, I expect. But don't forget, okay, give yourself strength, ask for healing for you, and don't feel selfish, okay, because we all need to be as strong as we can so we can help everybody else. So I'll leave that thought with you and just say God bless.
Thank you, Les. Thank you for your words of wisdom this morning. It's very true. We have been saying for a number of months here at Wimbledon, if you need us, contact us. You've got our web pages, you've got all our different numbers of different people. We have a bank of ministers here that will help and advise if they can. We have a healing app, and there's even a couple of our team are doing messages online or Facebook or whatever way they're doing. So it's, you know, we are here for you all, not just a selective few. We're an inclusive church and we try to include everybody. So thank you all very much this morning, Lesley. Thank you very much. Now we're coming to that part of the service where our medium will demonstrate the gifts of the Spirit. If Lesley is drawn to anyone or has anyone's names, please listen and pay attention to what Lesley's saying. And please, if you're saying yes, say and write what you're saying yes to. That's very important. There's a few seconds delay, maybe 10, 15 seconds, but work with that and we will all work together to help get that message over to you this morning. So it's a few more names again. We've had Teresa saying thank you and a few others saying thank you, Lesley, for the address this morning. And June, once again, is thanking you for your philosophy. So that's great. And we're planning to do, sorry to be here this morning. We're planning to help as many people as you can. If you can't and don't get a message this morning, take something from the messages that you're hearing this morning. I often come to church when we had congregations here, but come here and sit and take something from a message that somebody else received. Take that light and that comfort. So, friends, I now hand over to Lesley Knight, who will demonstrate the gifts of the Spirit. Thank you, Lesley. Right. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Quite an odd thing to go straight from address into the mediumship, so you have to bear with me a moment. Ray said exactly the same thing that I was thinking myself. The last few times I've been working, I've found I've got quite a few double links coming in, and I don't know whether this, and I've seen this with other mediums too that have been working on the internet. They seem to get quite a few double links with people. So I will say be open-minded. If you can understand, as Ray said, the message that's coming through, then please take it, because I do feel Spirit is starting to work with us differently at the moment. And at the moment, as I'm linking in, I can, I've got a gentleman with me, but I do feel there's a couple of gentlemen, I would say there's 3 gentlemen that have all come in together. So I hope you can bear with me while I try and work out who's who. And I'll give you a little bit of information I've got. And I feel this may be the first time these gentlemen have come through. I feel one would have died of an illness. One would have taken his own life. And I feel the 3rd gentleman would have died in an accident or an impact. And I feel this would have been to do with a car. Now, I know this is a bit vague, but I just have to go with it as I'm getting it. Now, to me, the three gentlemen, it's as though they've not come through before, and it's as though they're saying, okay, mate, you're going through. Yeah, I'll come with you. They're backing each other up. And I suppose it's a little bit like I was talking about in the address, you know, being there for each other, because these three men are coming through together, and it's as though they're being brought in together and they're coming through together, giving each other strength. So this makes me think that maybe they've not come through before, or if one of them has, then he's bringing the others through. So let's see. Now the first one that comes through, to me, he looks, and I'm not very good with ages, he's quite young, and he looks between, I'd say 20. I'm going to say all these three gentlemen are between about 20 and 35. They all look as though they would have passed much younger or before their time, but obviously it wasn't before their time, but before you would have expected them to go. They're really making me laugh, because they're three real characters, and then they're messing about and they're going, go on, you go first, you go first, you go first, you go first. And it's making it really difficult for me. And I do apologise, but I'm just going to try and... Right, come on, boys, sort yourselves out. Okay, right, one's been pushed to the front, much to his annoyance. Okay. This must be the first time they've come through, because it's as though he doesn't know what he's meant to be doing. Okay. This gentleman, I feel, is looking either for mum or a sister that we'll be watching this morning. Okay. He's dressed, as he's dressed, he seems to be wearing very casual clothes, but they seem dirty. So I don't know whether he had a dirty job, whether maybe he worked in a garage. It looks like grease, or whether he worked in a factory, something like that, because he's coming through very, very casual. He's saying to me, I used to love cars. I loved cars. And this gentleman would have tinkered with cars a lot. I do feel he would have, I don't mean built cars, but taken a bit from different cars. I used to go out with a boy years ago that used to love Morris Minors, of all things, and he would go to scrapyards and buy bits of different Morris Minors and then make one decent car out of loads of bits. And I feel this is what this gentleman would do. I don't know whether anybody can understand him yet. I know it's a bit vague. This gentleman loved football, and they would have okay, I don't know whether I'm guessing at this or not, but I feel Chelsea would come to the forefront, and he would have loved to go and watch football. He'd been quite a fanatical football supporter. So I don't know if anybody can understand this. Okay, nobody can understand yet. Come on, what else are you going to tell me? He would have been a smoker. He's showing me himself smoking. And he'd have been quite a laid-back person as well. He'd have been a very laid-back person. Not the type to worry about anything. You know, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll do that tomorrow. So I don't know whether anybody can understand this younger person. Did I say he would have died in an impact? I can't remember. He's telling me that he died in a car accident, and he was speeding. He was going, I don't know whether he was speeding, he was going too fast, but he's telling me it was his fault. Nobody can understand this, can they? Oh dear. Okay. Nobody can understand? No. Okay, Pamela said, the one who took his life, does he have dirty blonde hair? I don't know yet, Pamela. I was trying to separate them to do this chap first. Okay, American football. I'm not going to make that fit. It feels more like English football. Let's see if we can just try and get this chap first before I go on to the other two, because I don't want to mix them up, and I don't want to just make it fit and say yes, because if it doesn't feel right to me, then I'm not that type of, I'd rather say no, I've messed the link up, you know, than just make it fit. Right, this gentleman died in a car accident. He was a smoker. I do feel he liked football. He would have supported a football team. Chelsea came into my mind, but I'm not going to say definitely that it was Chelsea. It might just be because that's who my family support that I'm thinking of. He would have tinkered with cars, because I can see he's got grease on him. I could see a lamppost. I don't know whether there would have been an impact with a lamppost. But he's actually saying it was nobody else's fault. It was his fault. It was one of those things where he died. Now, if nobody can understand this, I'm going to try and ask him to step to the side, because he's given me lots of information and I do know he's there. But if nobody can understand this, it might mean that he's just stepped in with the others. He's saying, you know my mum, you know my mum. There's somebody on here that must. Younger person died accidentally because of his own actions. Tate wasn't suicide or a car accident, was a smoker. No, I'm not going to make it. Okay, Maxine, I'm going to go with you. That feels more right. That feels right. Oh, he supported Port Vale. Okay, this feels better, because I feel he's saying, you know me, but I didn't. I know I said mum. I feel there's a connection around his mum. Somebody knows his mum. And I can't change it. And he did die in an accident. Maxine, yeah, I feel I'm with Maxine, Stace, at the moment. Wait and see what the other two gentlemen bring through. You knew his mum. That sounds right. It feels right to me, Maxine. Okay. He's saying to you, can you tell mum I'm okay? Maxine. He's saying, I'm still as cheeky as I was and I haven't changed. His mum talks to his picture. I know this is perhaps a lot of stuff that you can't, you work with his sister and niece. Okay, wonderful, because I think he did mention sister earlier, didn't he, I think. His mum talks to his photograph a lot. And I don't mean she's got a shrine, but there's a little place in her house, and I feel it's in her front room, maybe on a mantelpiece. She's got a picture of him that she talks to, and gets comfort from that. Okay, if you could pass this on to her, perhaps write it down and pass it on to her for me, I think that would be really. And he's actually going like this, and he's putting his thumbs up to me, so I know that I am with you. So if you could pass this on to his mum, please. Okay. He's also talking about his legs, so I don't know whether there would have been a case where his leg, he's not telling me that he died instantly. I feel as though maybe he would have perhaps survived for a little while. I'm not sure on that, but he's showing me a leg as though perhaps a leg was caught in the framework of the car or something like that, because that's what he's showing me, is a little bit more evidence. Okay. He's saying I was stupid. I wasn't concentrating. That's what he's telling me. It was one of those things. Nobody was to blame. It was one of those things. That's what he's saying. Okay, what do you want to tell mum? He tickles his mum's ear, Maxine. He goes like this and tickles his mum's ear. So perhaps you could say to her, you don't know whether she feels something funny around her ear at some point, but he tickles mum's ear. And I do feel with his sister, there's a certain song that was special between them. There would have been some funny connection with a song. It's not sentimental, but it's a funny connection with a song. Oh, his mum passed a few years ago. Oh, wow. Okay. Then that doesn't make sense, does it? Would you... Sorry? Lenka's taken it as well. Okay, Lenka. I've tried his mum to talk to him. Okay. If you can both listen, because I do feel that I'm going to get some double links today, and I know this has happened before. Please both listen. Maxine, if it's not his mum, then I feel his sister might know about, particularly with the year. I do still feel with Maxine that your friend's sister would know about this song, okay? That this song would be important, and there's something funny about a song between him. Lenka says her friends talks to the picture. Okay, fantastic. Let's see where we're going with this then. It's so difficult when you get a double link because you get the feedback and then your mind starts coming. So I'm going to try and clear my mind, and let's see where we're going. This gentleman did smoke. There definitely would have been a problem with his leg in the motor car, being trapped of some sort. Okay, Maxine, I feel that this chap wants to say to his sister that she misses dancing, she misses going out with her friends. And he's actually laughing, and he's saying to have a boogie indoors. Put the music on and have a boogie indoors. And he's saying to her to go on Zoom with her friends and pretend they're all together and have a boogie indoors. He wants to lift her spirits because I feel she's struggling a little bit at the moment. Okay, so I'll leave that with you, Maxine. If you could pass that on to his sister for me, please. Right, let's see where we are with Lenka. With Lenka, I do feel the gentleman that passed in the accident might have been suffering. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but he was very distracted. And I do feel his mind might have been somewhere else as he was driving. He might, before he passed, I feel he would have had a lot going on in his life, a lot of stuff, because he's showing me his head very, very mixed up. And I don't know whether you can understand this, Linka. He's showing me his head as very, very mixed up, and he had a lot going on in his mind. And he said, I wasn't in the best place. I wasn't in the best place. So I don't know if you can understand that, Lenka, with this gentleman. This wasn't the cause of the accident. It wasn't the fact that he did this on purpose. Maxine said he did smoke and he was trapped. Yeah, I felt that, Maxine. Okay, thank you. If you can pass his love on to his sister. I'm sorry I mixed up with his mum, but, you know, this is a problem with the double connection, and that's where I feel I was more with Lenka. Can you understand, Lenka, that this gentleman's mum feels that he's gone? That she can't get a connection. I wouldn't know about him. I felt it was before or after a party, running away from something. Okay, I just feel as though there was a lot going on in his mind. He wasn't in a good place, and he wasn't concentrating when this happened. Okay, but I do feel his mum, even though I feel there's not that link. You know, when we get that link and we know that our loved ones are around us. And I do feel she keeps talking to his picture, but it's as though she doesn't think he can hear her. Even it's giving her more comfort talking to him rather than she doesn't believe he can hear her. Will you tell her he can hear her? Okay. And he actually wants to speak to her himself. He's telling her, just sit quietly and you'll feel me. You'll feel me, Mum. You'll feel me around you. I haven't gone. This is important. I haven't gone. I'm still around you. And he's saying he holds her hand. I hold your hand, Mum. And I'm with you. And I think that's what he wants you to pass on to her if you can. Okay? Don't let her think he's gone. He's with her. And this is really, really important. And he holds her hand. So, excuse me. If I can leave that with you, Lenka, to hopefully pass on to her. And he's just saying thank you. That's all he wanted to do today. Just let Mum know I'm there. Just let Mum know I hear her and I'm around her. I'm not going anywhere. I haven't gone anywhere. And if she sits still and she sits quietly, she'll feel me. Okay, I'm going to give her a hug. She'll feel me. So I'm going to leave that with you, Lenka, okay? And then I'm just going to see if I can go back to these other two gentlemen that are still standing there. Okay. Right. One of the gentlemen is now stepping forward. I feel he's slimmer. He's slimmer in build. I do feel he would be younger. He would be in his 20s, early 30s. I do feel if he's not younger, then he's got a very baby face, this gentleman. He's not got any blue beard or anything like that. He's got lovely smooth skin. And he's got the most beautiful smile. Beautiful smile. Now he's telling me, I feel as though he would have died from a leukemia or cancer condition, but he's also, this sounds terrible. I don't know how I'm going to say it. He's also telling me about his groin area or his testicles. So I don't know whether there would have been a cancer condition around there. Or there would have been a problem around there. I know it's a Sunday service, but I've got to give what I'm given, and I don't mean that in a funny way, okay? This would have been a progressive illness that this gentleman had, and he would have become very, very weak before he passed. But he was young. He wasn't an older person. He's got lovely sort of. He's lovely. He's got lovely sort of, I've just said mid-brown hair. But his smile, when you look at his smile and his eyes, he uplifts you. So I don't know if anybody can understand this, but I'd say boy rather than man. He looks like a boy rather than a man. He's telling me he would have suffered with his breathing. He would have been on oxygen when he was ill. He got very, very out of breath. He was quite slim, and I do feel he was quite slim anyway, but he would have lost a lot of weight. He wouldn't have been able to eat towards the end of his life. And he's telling me that he fought for a long time, but in the end, I knew it was time for me to go. No, we're going to struggle getting a link with this gent. Anybody understand any of what I've said about him? Okay. Right, somebody's calling out their name, Michael. I'm not saying that's his name. If there's a connection with a Michael, with this, I'm going to say boy. I keep feel as I should say boy. He was a very studious young man. He liked learning. Totally different, actually, to the gent that came through before. Quite a quiet boy. Oh dear, I don't like it when come on, give me something that somebody recognise. He's saying to me that he would have suffered with hiccups before he passed. I know this is a really strange thing, and I know when I worked in the hospital, we used to quite often have people that used to get a lot of hiccups, and this gentleman would have passed, or this boy would have passed, had a lot of hiccups. Okay, lovely. Right, thank you. Richard can take this. Oh, I'm so glad somebody can, because I know he's there and it's so important. Okay. Yes. Yeah, very, very quiet. Beautiful eyes and a beautiful smile, lovely teeth. And it's as though when he looked at you, he could just lift your spirits. Yeah. Okay. 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 Right. Okay, lovely. Let's see there where we're going with this for Richard. Right. He's telling me that you've been really stressed, Richard. I mean, I do know a few bits that have been going on with you, but he's telling me that you've been quite stressed recently. And he's been trying to calm you down, just to give you that feeling of peace. And he's actually saying to me, breathe, bruv. Okay, breathe. He wants. Okay, I didn't know that. So he's saying, breathe, bruv. You know, concentrate on that breath, because you've been quite worked up and tense with stuff at the moment. And he wants to bring you peace and calm into your life. He said things will be okay. Things are going to go in slightly a different direction. That's what he's telling me. Things are going to go slightly a different direction, similar to what you're doing, but slightly different. All right. He's saying to you, have a couple of months of sitting back. All right. Have a couple of months of just sitting back and wait, because then you'll get the inspiration of where you're meant to go. Okay. Because at the moment your mind is a little bit muddled, and he doesn't want you to make a mistake. He doesn't want you to do the wrong thing. Okay. So he's just saying, just sit back, you know, take the deep breaths, have a bit of peace, and you'll suddenly know what you want to do and where you want to go. It will be like that. And you'll suddenly get that inspiration. Right, that's it. I know what I'm doing now. But just give it a couple of months. And I don't fortune tell, but he's saying to me February. I feel the end of February, things will be different, and you'll have more of an idea of which pathway you want to take. Okay. He wants you to sit back and relax more. He said you're not really relaxing. Okay, okay, you can understand that, because he's saying, oh, for goodness sake, sit down and relax for 5 minutes. He said, you make me on edge watching you, because I do feel he watches you, and he's saying you're making him on edge watching you. It's like you're here, there, everywhere, and you're wearing him out by like sometimes when you're thinking, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, got to do that, and you haven't done anything, but you're exhausted because you've done it all in your mind, and that's what he's talking about. That's it. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Okay. He's talking about mum. Okay, I'll be honest, Richard, I can't work out whether mum's there or whether she's here, but he's talking about mum. Okay, because I couldn't work out whether she'd passed or whether she was here. So Richard has said that mum's got dementia. Okay. He's looking after mum. She spends quite a lot of time with him, actually. No, but she does spend quite a lot of time with him. And I do feel that sometimes when people are in comas or when they've got Alzheimer's, quite often I do feel they're sort of a little bit in the spirit world and a little bit here. And I was talking to somebody about this last night, funny enough, because they said they had a message for somebody for their parent who had Alzheimer's, which was quite nice, and it really did make sense to them. And I know I've given messages to people when their loved ones have been in a coma, so I do feel that does happen. But he does say that sometimes she is with him, and he's looking after her, because you do worry about her, and you do feel you can't. I mean, I don't know your situation with COVID now, but he's saying you do feel that you can't spend as much time with her as you'd like to. And I know this sounds awful, and I don't mean this to sound nastily. Sometimes you think, is it worth it because she doesn't know who I am anyway? Would you understand that? Okay. And I think you find that quite hard. Even though you understand it, you do find it hard. Okay. All right, let's see if we can wind this up, because I want to get some more messages in. Okay. Do you ever hear like a sound like somebody banging on a tin, or a okay, it's him. Okay, it's him. And he's saying that he bangs, and it's like his sound is like a tinny sound, as though somebody. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's him. Okay. So that's the metallic sound is your brother. Richard is acknowledging. I don't know whether people can hear you or not, but Richard is acknowledging that he understands that. So I'm going to leave his love with you, and thank you, Richard, for linking with him, because I was worried that I wouldn't get a link. So I'm going to try and go to that the other gentleman. Okay. You're welcome. Right, now this other gentleman's coming in like this. He's swaggering. He's Jack the Lad. All right. He's I'm not saying he was a nasty person, but he was a type of person that you'd think, bit of a know-it-all. He knew everything. Type of person would never admit that he was wrong with anything. And he's saying, I put on a front. Nobody is telling me, nobody knew what was going inside my head. And he's actually calling me Lesley, which is quite nice, because Spirit don't often acknowledge the medium by name. But he's actually saying, nobody knew what was going on in my head, Lesley. Nobody knew what was going on. I put the front on. I pretended I was okay. I do feel this gentleman took his own life, but he's not telling me how. He said, that's not important. I don't want to go into details. He said, it wasn't nice. I don't want to go into details. I was a bit stupid, really, but it was one of those things. He would have come across as quite an arrogant person. And I'm not being nasty by this, but I want somebody to recognise him. And if I said he was all lovey-dovey and everything else, they wouldn't. He was could be quite an arrogant person. Is he Scottish? I don't know, Pamela. Yeah, 1 minute. He's laughing, and I hope this isn't my imagination. But is it a Tam O'Shanter? Is that a Tam O'Shanter they have? Where that funny bobble hat with a funny little bob on it. My friend used to put one on New Year's Eve as a joke, because his dad was Scottish. But he's just put one of those on his head. So if that's Scottish, then I do feel he may be, because he's now showing me bagpipes. Messing about, but this is like a jokey thing. I do feel he he would have had a good sense of humour, but a weird sense of humour. People wouldn't have always got his jokes, and he wouldn't have always some of his jokes could be a little bit, shall we say, risque, or I do feel this gentleman would have sworn when he was here. He was quite rough and ready, and Aye, that's Scottish. Okay. He's quite rough and ready as he comes forward. And like I say, he's really swaggering as he's coming. And I think he wants people to, or somebody to link with him, understanding the way he was, okay? He's telling me people wouldn't have known how I felt. Oh, his grandfather played the bagpipes. Okay. He's saying to me, people wouldn't have known how I felt. I kept it all in, and he's actually saying to me, it wasn't a good thing. There are a few people around him that realised he wasn't as he should be. You know, when you look at somebody and think, well, I'm worried about him. He's not as he should be, but he would never talk about anything, and he would keep everything to himself. Okay. I also feel there would have been perhaps a problem with stomach conditions around him. And also the person who connects with him maybe would have tummy problems. I'm not saying anything drastic, but Pamela's saying he did keep it to himself. Okay. It does feel right with you, Pamela. This link does feel right. And if you can understand what he's saying, I don't know whether you suffer with sort of a bit of a funny tummy sometimes, but I feel also he would have had a bit of a funny tummy sometimes. So I don't know whether this was anxiety. This could be an anxiety where he had so much going on that it was showing in his stomach. It was getting that anxiety in his stomach. But I also feel you suffer with anxiety in your stomach. If you're stressed, your tummy is the first area to go to. So I don't know whether you understand that, okay? Okay. I don't know whether he's actually showing me himself. He was showing a rope. So I don't know if this is evidence of how he passed or just more evidence to say, I took my own life. He's also telling me that nobody could have stopped him. Pamela's saying this could be her cousin Roddy. Okay. He's telling me that nobody could have stopped him. Oh, he's also saying I was a force to be reckoned with. I don't know what you're saying. Yes, he hung himself. Okay. I'm so sorry about that. I really am. But that's what he showed me. And as a medium, it's quite hard for us to, give that out. But I will, because he gave it to me. And we have to be true and tell you what they're showing us. All right. He's laughing and he's saying I'm fine now, and he's actually jigging and dancing up and down. When people put their legs up and they bang their legs together on either side. I don't know what you would call it, but he's actually saying I'm absolutely fine now. I don't regret it. I should have spoken to other people before, because he's saying people suffered from what I did, and I'm sorry about that. I am so sorry about that, because he didn't mean to hurt anybody. But he's saying to me, I just had enough. I had enough. And I'm so much happier now where I am. And I've learnt so much. He's telling me I've learnt so much. And he's saying he should have spoken to people. He should have spoken to people because they would have understood. But I think there was part of him as well where he didn't want to hurt anyone. He didn't think that by taking his life, he would hurt anybody. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but he didn't actually think that by taking his life, he could hurt anybody. But he didn't want to upset anybody by telling people how he felt at the time. He's saying I felt I could carry the world on my shoulders, and I could cope with anything. He was cheering. Okay. His mother misses him terribly. I'm sure she does. Will you just pass on the fact that he's happy? He's happy. He hurt his mother. Yeah, I'm sure he did. I know this is a hard thing to say, and I'm going to say it because he's telling me he doesn't regret what he did. Okay? It's not a case of, I wish I hadn't done that, because he's happy now. And I know that probably sounds perhaps a little bit selfish on his part, but he's saying, I'm happy now. Please tell my mum that I'm happy now. She doesn't have to worry about me anymore. I'm fine. He's saying I'm a different person now. His views are so different. Since he's passed over, his views on life are so different. I do feel he was a very strong character. Well, he's telling me he's a very strong character when he was here. And I don't know whether he would have had, and I do feel perhaps he would have had arguments with people. He would have been very strong in his beliefs and what he thought was wrong or right, and he would never have thought he was wrong. But he's saying, you know, there was, not always, but there was times I was wrong, and I should have acknowledged that. But I'm okay now. And he's giving me a ring. I don't know whether somebody's got a ring that belonged to him. Or it could even be that he had a ring that belonged to one of the family, that he wore a ring that belonged to one of his family that was passed down to him. But he's talking about this ring. So I don't know whether you can understand that, Pamela. But please, please send his love to his mum. Tell her that he's okay. And will she stop beating herself up that she could have done something? She should have done something to stop him, because he said nobody would have stopped me. It was what I wanted to do. Nobody could have stopped me. And if it hadn't happened then, it would have happened another time. She would tell his daughter also, okay, thank you. Probably his dad's ring. Yeah, I felt it was a ring that belonged, that he had from somebody else, you know, rather than it being here. It was from somebody else. So I don't know whether that ring has been passed down in the family, because he treasured that ring. He treasured it, and he would like that ring to be with somebody in the family. So I hope it has gone to somebody that is looking after it. Okay. It's funny how a lot of these messages have literally come with the address, you know, having the strength to actually speak to somebody and, you know, to be there for each other. It's sort of reiterating that fact that we do need to be there for each other. Okay. And he's saying, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't need to, and there are other people waiting. But just send her my love, send the family my love, and nobody could have stopped me. And if it hadn't happened then, it would have happened another time, but I'm happy. They mustn't blame themselves. Whatever they do, don't blame themselves. And he's saying, yes, I was selfish, but I'm in a better place now. Okay, so I don't know how much time I've got, whether I've got time to do another one, or if anybody can let me know. I'll leave his love with you, Pamela, if you could pass that on. Have I got time for another one, Ray, or have we finished?
Yes, you have, Les, if you want to, or if you want to stop now, that's fine as well, whatever you prefer.
Okay, I'll just see if I get anything else. If I don't, then we'll call it a day. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to call it a day there, Ray, if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine, Les.
I just feel as though it's quite strange, and I've never had 3 separate people come in like that together from Spirit. Not 3 of them before, and I feel that went with the address. You know, they're still supporting each other in the spirit world, the same as they're supporting us, and that we've got to support and give each other strength. And I think that was all the way it was meant to go, and it was quite weird the way a lot of the messages went for somebody else to pass to somebody else. So hopefully that will give them strength.
That's
so
fine, Lesley. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your service this morning, and my regards to you, and let Alistair keep well. and we're
Thank
looking
you.
forward to your wedding service later this year.
Fingers crossed. Third time lucky. I do
If not,
so
I'll
hope
stand
so.
at socially distanced and marry you in the garden,
Yeah,
or conduct the wedding in the garden, not
that's
marry
it, though.
you.
I want a big. We'll have to go to the park. I want a big one with all my friends and family
Yeah,
there.
we'll do that. We'll do
I'll be-
that.
Yeah. Thanks,
Hampton
Ray.
Court Palace, lovely place to do it.
Lovely, yeah. Perhaps Thomas can come.
Yeah, maybe he'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
friends. Thank
Ray.
you very much, Lesley. Just a few adverts. Sunday sofa today, this afternoon, and fledgling evenings tonight with Spiritual Psychics TV or via the Zoom for the people that have that access. And Richard's putting the adverts up now. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sunday Sofa's talking about near-death experiences, and that should be a very interesting conversation, because over my 50 years in spiritualism, I've met a lot of people that have discussions with that, so that should be a very good discussion. And VIP tonight for fledglings, readings, online support, and much more from 8 o'clock tonight, so that should be good. Should be a very interesting evening. And Wimbledon will be having a workshop here in May. Philip or Ashley will be putting out more details at a later time. And we've had a number of inquiries during the week where we got the dream catchers from. We brought them for our spiritual weekend last year, and they didn't sell, so we've decided to hang them up in the church. And also, to be perfectly honest, we can't find the curtains to put back up at the moment, so we are looking for them. They seem to have totally disappeared from sight at the moment, so we've put those dream catchers up, which I think are very nice. So, friends, we're coming to the end of our service. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to remind you all and say to you that as Lesley said in her address, we've got to be strong, we've got to be positive. There's a lot facing us still, especially with this new variant of new variant of the virus they keep talking about. And we've got to try and keep our distances when we go out. I just read a shocking article this morning that an actor on television, who we all know, and I happen to quite like him, has brought a badge to say that he's exempt from wearing a mask, but he's not exempt. He's just decided to go and buy the badge from Amazon. So it's up to people what they do. It's their life. I'm not going to tell anybody what they should do and what they shouldn't do. That would be wrong of me to tell anyone. But we need to be vigilant still with each other, keep a distance. Jackie and I keep 2 meters distance from each other when we're out and if we're walking. And that's pretty standard for me, because I'm normally about 2 or 3 meters in front of Jackie when we walk. And we went to the park the other day, took Noah on Friday, but we kept a distance. The park was empty with the swings, and we wiped everything down and cleaned. So we've just got to be sensible when we can. And we've got to support our family where we can as well. And that includes not only our initial Robinson family, but the whole church family. Where we can, we try to support and care for. And as we said earlier, we've got a healing app. If anyone wishes to put healing, please put it on the church Facebook page. Between a number of us, we'll put that on the healing app. And we also have ministers to talk to if you need to. There's about 4 ministers here at Wimbledon, and we will do that. I'd like to point out still that some of you who know us quite well, our Hatbridge Church is still closed at the moment because it's just not able to do COVID distancing. But we do hope to reopen with a new revitalised church at Hatbridge in the hopeful future. Not sure when, but we do that. But I have to say, we've not had many inquiries about it. It's only about 2 people that have inquired about Hatbridge Church, but the building's still there, and Jackie and I check on it regular, but it's not open at the moment. We continue and will continue to have our Sunday service here, and those who know the church, we have our Church Friendship Club on a Wednesday on Zoom, which Phil, Jackie and Julie helps run. We have a medium on every week, and we also have a chat And if people want to, they can have a cup of tea and coffee with themselves and go make it and come back and disappear. It's not a rigid meeting. It lasts about 2 hours. So, but it's a good way of keeping contact with the church. And as I say, we are planning to try and do a few more things in the future, but it's taking time for some of it to grow. So thank you all. Once again, Richard James, our producer, we thank him for all his hard work and efforts towards the church and the spiritual movement for all that he does for us. It's important that we keep within ourselves the possibility that everything's going to be fine and well. I know how lockdown affects people because it's affected Jackie and I. We're not enjoying this one as much as we did the last one. We're not coping as well. We do get our blue days, and as I like to call it, black dogs can come over me sometimes. I can feel quite down because I get very saddened when I hear so many people, even within the Robinson family, we have people ill with COVID. But we've got to try and look beyond the shadows of the negative press and look to the light. On the horizon is light. The sun sets every night and the sun rises every night. And we've got to look forward to sharing our hopes and our prayers with each other. Sorry, Richard? Did I say night? Oh, well, I'm a vampire, so I do rise at night, but sun sets at night or the evening, and at Portsmouth even earlier than London. And we must focus our thoughts to help each other, to care for each other. Lesley and I had a chat the other day and said there's things going on in this world of ours we don't always agree with some of the things that are being said about certain things. But what we are united at, we've got to support each other. We've got to stay safe. We've got to stay positive. We've got to focus on what's happening in this world and how we can support those around us. I've been very, very conscious of spirit, very close to me at home the last few days. Not that it's ever distant, but it's been very close the last few days. And I know so many people within the spiritual movement are saying the same. We are not alone. We are never alone. But sometimes there is slight more distance between us and the spirit world because of how we're feeling and how we're focused in our own minds. We've got to support those in the National Health Service that are caring and looking after our people. I know that some people can't have their operations or their procedures, but I have to say during the lockdowns, I managed to have my eye looked at and my injections, and I'm practically well now with my left eye. I'm seeing better, I'm clear, and I thank those in the eye hospital St Helier or the eye department St Helier that helped me. And I know my daughter's still having her maternity checks, and I know my brother's been having checks with his local hospitals where he lives. So we've got to focus on the good things that are happening. And I just wish sometimes the newspapers and the TV news would actually show some results of good things happening in our community instead of this not happening and that not happening. And for whatever reason, food not coming into this country, if you're a Brexiteer or a Remainer, what we must do is work together. And I wish that a lot more was going on in a positive way. So I would ask you all to focus on being positive, being bright, thinking of those words, God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change. There's so much happening in this world that we cannot change at the moment, but we need to accept it and move with it. Part of my mindfulness aspect is to try and be mindful of the things I can deal with. And the things I can't deal with immediately, I just put to one side and move on to the next project. So let us be mindful of how we can send the light and healing out to the world to bring our knowledge and our comfort. World War I and World War II was two of the greatest growths in spiritualist movement as a whole, be it national or Christian spiritualists. But what I'm saying to you now, here is a chance for us to go forward with our spiritual messages, to be positive with our spiritual messages. A few people at the last lockdown first contacted me as mediums and psychics saying, I've got a message from my guys that they won't allow a second COVID lockdown to happen. Well, it happened, and I'm not saying their mediumship was wrong, but we have to also test our messages, and we have to accept what we want in our mind and our heart is not always what we're going to get. Support our local shops where you can by buying online. Support your local shop if you can go out and able to go out, but try and wear a mask if you can. Support your local spiritual churches, spiritual movement around the world and in this country, and be part of a community here at Wimbledon, which is online and virtual thanks to Spiritual Psychics TV, and be part of us. The Wednesday Friendship Club, you're welcome to join. It's £2.67 to buy an entrance via Eventbrite. But that's a way of funding the church, but also a way of joining like minds. And Jackie chairs that meeting and gives everyone a chance to speak and chat. And I try to phone people throughout the week and talk to different people, and Jackie does the same. And I know Lesley does the same, and the church leaders within the group. So stay firm, stay resolute, and be positive with your spiritual aspects of helping this world become a better and greater place. May God go with you all until we meet again. So mote it be. Lesley, would you close our meeting with prayer?
Divine Spirit, Father God, we've come to the end of our service, and we thank you for the messages of love and support we were given today. May I ask that all those praying with us now be blessed and protected, and may we carry on proving that life continues and there is no death. Please keep us all safe and protected in your love and your light until we meet again. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all. Thank you all very much, Terry. Thank you for your kind words there. God bless you all until we meet again. See you all very soon, one way or another. So mote it be. Amen.